Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm showing you how I'm setting up my written journal on Notion, and this is something I love to use. And I wanted to update a little bit more this year, especially because I want to use it as a tool to make my reviews on internet, and you'll see how I'm gonna do that. So obviously first I'm setting up the titles, I'm setting up also the cover and the icon for the page, which I found on Pinterest, and I'm making basically every page I want to create first, especially the reading log, by creating a new database page. Changing a little bit more the categories, you can do that, and that's why I love to use Notion. It's because you can really personalize almost everything. It's a bit tricky at first to know how it can be used and to understand all the properties, but so no, basically I'm just doing a reading log with a table so I can start to make all the categories I want to fill out, like the title of the book, the rating, the review, the genre. After that you have different properties, and I'll show you next how it is used. And I really wanted to add everything I need to review the book and to kind of sort them out if I need, because you can add a filter to the table and find a book according to its theme, according to its genre, which is basically just super useful at the end of the year when I want to make some stats about the books I've made, or if I need to make some posts on Instagram and I have to choose a book in relation with its theme or the rating I gave it. So that's super useful, as I've said it already. And you'll see through the video that I'm discovering also, and that I'm changing some things that I didn't like. So here you can see that I'm adding everything I need, like if this book made me cry, if I borrowed it, or if I just bought it and read it in my kobo. The nationality of the author, which is something I want to be more aware of also by reading my books. So that's the kind of information I want to add to the reading log for sure. So as you can see, there are different properties for the categories. You'll see a bit more later how it's gonna look like, because now I think it's a bit blurry for you to understand how it's working. But at the end, you'll see how everything turns out. And you can also change the little icons from your categories. So I like to do that. You can definitely choose your own icons, and I love to just put some little moons and some other according to the categories. I don't know, season I wanted to add a cloud. Don't ask me why, that's just the way it is. Now we can start to add a book. So I'm adding the title Shining, and when for the categories you choose select, it's super useful for me, at least for the author, to know if one author has been used several times for other books. That's the same for the ratings. I can just at the end of the year, for example, choose a filter for the rating, like 5 stars book, and only the 5 stars books will show. That's super useful for me. So that's why I choose to select property for those categories. And for review, it's just a text. You put some text like the title. For the genre, same, I put select and multi-select, so I can put different genre. Same for the tropes and the themes, same for the season. I love to know in which season it's perfect to read this book, especially Shining, because it's setting in winter, so I can make videos and posts for wintry book, summery book. And now you can see that for the page count I chose the probability number, which is not perfect because at first I wanted to put the exact page, but I thought it wasn't quite relevant, so I wanted to make under or above a certain number of pages, which was not working with number because you cannot add the symbol, and I chose select instead. But you can see that I was mistaken. I've put that this book was under 500 pages, which is not. It's above 500 pages, so I'm gonna correct that later when I'm gonna realize my mistake. And now just basically adding a cover, so you'll see later that when I want to add a different view of the log, because you can choose to view it as a table with the different lines, but also as a gallery, but you'll see later. And through the making of this video, I just realized that I needed more things like the publication date, so I got back and added that, because that's an important information, I think. Don't you think? I think it is. And now I'm just doing another data-based full page, and this one is for my book series because I love to track my book series also, for sure. And I'm basically doing the same, creating a table with different categories that I'm gonna fill with the title, the author, etc, etc. I love also to add the progress, the status of how I'm doing in this series, and I just modified it a bit. You can modify the title of the progress, the color, and I love that. I love how you can personalize and everything, so I tried a kind of purple pink combo, but I wasn't liking it. I'm more of a yellow, orange, brown girl, so I did that instead. You can see now how, as for the reading log, I'm adding the name, the author, and the number of books in the series, and the actual books I've read, and the status. Doing the same thing now, adding a table but for the manga series, because I love to read mangas and there are so many of them, so it's a bit tricky to follow how many mangas you've read in which series and how many you have going. So doing the same here basically, and as always changing the icon with the title of the categories. And as I was adding the categories, I was aware of the fact that it was more for the manga log and not the manga series, so here it is, I modified it. And now I'm doing it the same for the manga series this time. Now I had a new idea. Instead of the not started, which I'm never using, I'm just changing it by DNF for a series if I didn't want it to continue it. And doing the same for the book series, and also changing the set as default, because every time I'm adding something, the status is going to be not started or no DNF, which is just a bit painful sometimes when I'm adding a lot of them in one time. I have to change it every time, so no, just by sending it as a default, this is going to be in progress whenever I'm adding something, which is mostly the case every time I'm adding the book. And now I want to show you how you can make also a bar, progress bar. When adding the number, you have to change the property shown as, and instead of 100%, you put the total number of volume and you put the volume you've read. So now it's showing as a bar, which I loved better, so I'm just changing it. I wanted to put the same title, but it was already here, so I just needed to replace the property, which would be much better, and delete the other one, but I made it all over again. That's okay. That's okay. And now I'm just also making a page for my TBR of the year, and you'll see it's gonna be a much simpler one. Just adding the title, and then I'm just adding a cover for the page. And then just putting a checkbox for if I've read it or not. And now you're gonna see how I'm putting it together. First, doing a toggle for the headline to pop up a bit more. I love to do that. And I'm adding the pages underneath so I can access it better and hide it if I want to. Changing also the icons so it's a bit more cute. Same for the logs. I'm gonna add a toggle and put the logs under it. You can also change the format of the text, like put it in italic and underline it and everything, make it bold if you want, and I love to do that, so I did that. You can also move things around in a certain extent by clicking on the little dots. Now I'm adding an image, and especially a GIF, because I love to add GIF, and that's what's making everything a little bit more aesthetic in my point of view. So choosing a Ghibli GIF to stay in the theme, because that's one thing I love. I found that the Ghibli universe is super aesthetic and I love it. I love it so much. I love to draw it, I love to put it everywhere. So now by clicking on turn it into inline, you can see directly on the main page how it's looking like, and you can change the view of it. And I'm putting gallery and I'm changing the properties you can see also, and the layout is super important. I like to make page cover so you can see the page cover, and fit image so you can see it better, and also put small so it's taking less room on the page. And also I didn't really like the icons I choose for the logs and the series, so I'm just changing it randomly now so you can see how I like it better. And now I'm just trying to move things around to see which I like more, and adding a January TBR. I love to do monthly TBR kind of books I've bought, especially for the month. Not like a hopeful but very sure TBR. You can also change the size, which is super useful. I love it, I just love it. And I'm gonna add a toggle also for the reading goals, because I'm gonna create a table for my reading goals, and you'll see how I'm gonna add relation between the pages, how by adding a line in one table, how it's gonna modify another table. So now I'm adding the goals for this year, and like finishing book series, finish at least 3 book series. And at first I wanted to add checkbox, so in the gallery view you could see checkbox checked. Just adding some really cute stars to it. So in the book series table, I'm gonna add the property relation, and to relate it to, I'm gonna add the reading log, no limit, and a two-way relation, and add the relation. And also I'm adding the property roll-up, and for the roll-up you're gonna edit and add the relation to the reading log, and importantly you have to relate with the property title and not show the original but the count. So when you're gonna add a book in relation with the series, the book series, it's gonna add the number on the roll-up. And same for the reading goals. When I'm gonna add a book in the reading log related to a certain goal, like read more classics, you'll see that it's gonna show on actual. So you have to edit the property on actual. The relation with reading log, also the relation with reading goals, because that's where you're gonna add the goals. You'll see. So see here, I created a category relation and I related it to reading goals, and now when I'm adding that shining is related to one of my reading goals, read more classics, it's gonna show on actual. And now when I'm putting it in gallery view and I'm choosing to show the property actual, which is related to the reading log, it's showing how actually I read books. But you see that with the checkbox it's not working, so I'm just gonna delete that later. So now it's showing on read more classics, one more, it's gonna add directly to it. And because you choose count all and not shown original, because it's just going to show shining, which is not aesthetic at all, which is not working for me. You can also choose to hide the category in your table if you don't want it to show, but that's just an option. And now you can see how it's looking, but I'm gonna add later some cover, so it's gonna be a bit more cute. So here's the final result. It's a bit different from what you've seen, but I've added all the books I wanted to add in my TBR this year. So it's looking like this, and I added the cover. I'm pretty happy about it, but I'm filming this like a few days ago and I already changed a bit some things. I added my February hopefuls because I have to plan it a bit more. And here's how my reading log is looking at the end with the small descriptions, the review. I also added the pacing of the books, the setting, the trigger warnings, the main character, the quotes I wanted to add also. So yeah, I'm super happy about it, and I hope you understand a bit more how I'm working with Notion. I hope it inspired you, and don't hesitate to ask me questions if you didn't understand something and I wasn't clear about something. Also, I love it. I love to use it. And so as always, guys, thank you for clicking, thank you for watching till the end, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye!